Good morning, Copenhagen. So excited to be here. Welcome to day 2 of EPPC. To get us going today, I really want to thank you all for coming out. It's great to be here. I love getting the chance to engage with this community and to be at this event again this year. Little did I know that you'd be seeing my face everywhere, so I apologize in advance for that. No one really wanted that. Yesterday was a big day. You heard Ryan talk about what it takes to build agents using low code, Copilot Studio, and all the amazing innovation that's happening across the Power Platform. And it was all super, super exciting stuff. But here's the thing. Building agents is just where the story starts, not where it ends. So for the next hour, we're going to talk about governance. We're going to keep talking about agents. We're going to talk about those things that sometimes get overlooked. All that stuff that happens after you build the agents. But again, I want to thank all of you for being here. This community is the reason that any of this exists. You took low code seriously. You started building those first agents when really agents were just words on slides. It's what makes this community so special, and I'm so grateful to be a part of it. Truly the best community in all of technology. Everything I'm about to show you was built with you in mind. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, looking beyond what it takes to build an agent and make it do things, and into how do I run hundreds and thousands of these safely, with real product, a real customer, and also 3 chances for the demo gods to test my faith in them. So keep your fingers crossed. But it truly is an amazing time in technology, with every organization transforming into the new frontier, enabling them to deliver results like never before. Frontier organizations are the ones that are rapidly shifting to be human-led and agent-operated. People applying their intelligence and unique capabilities to where they can add the most value. Now supported by a Copilot that understands their role and assists them to be more effective and productive than ever before. And now agents, increasingly taking on the work to run those critical processes to deliver ultimately what the business needs. And the low-code revolution, it did something remarkable. It put the power to build agents into everyone's hands. No engineering degree required, no IT ticket to be opened. People, copilots, and agents working side by side, transforming how work gets done. And I don't need to tell any of you this because you've all been on the front lines of this transformation. With low code, anyone can go spin up an agent and have it support those critical processes, enabling that transformation. That's genuinely new and so, so powerful. And in this room, that name of the revolution is Copilot Studio, right? That's what you're all using to build those agents. But the same thing that makes it so powerful, the fact that anyone can go build these agents, it's the thing that's creating a blind spot. Agents are coming from everywhere now, and almost no one can actually govern them. Let's put a number on it. Over 90% of organizations today are already running agents. Nearly everyone. But only 10%, yes, 10% have a strategy on how they're going to actually manage them. Just think about that for a second. That gap between running your agents and governing them, that's sprawl. We did the work to democratize the creation, but we never democratized control. And these agents, they're not static tools. They're not deterministic, that run exactly the same way each and every single time they get executed. No, they use context and their memories to reason in real time. to understand what is the right thing to go do next to deliver those results that it's intended to achieve. They learn and evolve the more they run, enabling them to increase in autonomy and get richer and richer the more they get used. And these agents, they're running throughout your entire system. They're coming from the applications that you're already utilizing to get work done, running across different cloud infrastructure that you use to support your business. And now they're starting to run on the same devices that your people work on, augmenting the way work gets done in new and unique ways. But to truly run the processes that they're intended to support, they need so much more. They must wire themselves into that same critical data and processes that run your business today. The things that make your organization unique and give you that competitive advantage. But those systems, they weren't built to support being used by agents. They were never built to talk to each other this way. I know I wish I could get access to all of those systems without having to go through a bunch of HR forms and security sign-offs like these agents do. But let me put you at ease. You already know how to manage chaos like this. You've been doing it for years, giving every person an identity, defining policies for every device, ensuring every endpoint has an owner and a lifecycle associated with it. Agents are simply the newest resource that have shown up that need to adapt and engage in this way. So the natural question to ask yourself is, who's actually going to manage all of this? And the answer is, it's not one person. It's a team. Like I said earlier, you've been doing this for years. You have roles and expertise that perform these functions today for your people, applications, and devices. Those are your IT professionals, your security and compliance teams, your developers and makers, and your admins. But now, they're looking at all this new sprawl, and they're all each asking the same question from a slightly different angle. How do I support and scale all of this without losing control? Listen to what each one is asking for. IT, they're looking for visibility into what is even going on to keep up with the pace of all the change. They need to be able to discover and monitor the agents that exist, manage their life cycle, and ensure the right people have access to the agents that they need. Security needs to keep the organization protected. They need to be able to ensure agents have access to the right systems at the right time. And they need to proactively respond to any emerging risks based on what the agents are actually doing. Compliance, they need to ensure that data continues to be used in the right way by controlling what agents can touch and what they can share. Developers need to be able to continue moving at the pace that the technology is evolving. And admins, they need to oversee all of this. They need a single pane of glass to set policies to keep agents in line at all times. 5 people, 5 different needs. And every one of them is saying the same exact thing. I need help. And that's where Agent 365 comes in. Agent 365 is the control plane for all your agents. And the most important thing I can tell all of you is that it's not a new rule book that you have to go and learn. It's the same stack you already run. That productivity and security infrastructure now extended from your people to support your agents too. One platform to discover, govern, and secure every agent across your organization. And it works for all the members of your team. It moves you from experimentation with agents to operating them at scale in 3 ways. First, observe, because you can't control what you can't see. With a unified registry and logs from all the agent activity, you get a full picture of every agent and what they're doing. Second, govern, so you can set the guardrails for your agents and the people utilizing them. with consistent processes for managing the entire life cycle of your agents, from hire to retire, and policies to support what those agents can do. And third, secure, so you can continue to keep your organization protected at all times, with each agent getting a unique identity, which can use to control the systems and data that it can use, with visibility into the risks and emerging issues that they have. And here's how it actually works. A distributed control plane on the foundation you already use, now extended to support those agents. Entra, to give each of your agents an identity, so you have a full registry of all of your agents. Defender, to support runtime protections over agent actions, and analysis over its trillions of signals looking for emerging risks. Purview, to protect against oversharing of your data so that it's utilized within your guidelines. And Intune policies that can be applied to agents running at the edge, all managed through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. The same teams, the same tools, now covering agents too. One system, every agent, the whole team, finally on the same field. But enough with the slides already. Let's see it in action. To take you inside Agent 365, please welcome someone that needs no introduction to this audience. Donna, over to you.
Thank you. All right, happy Governance Day to all who celebrate. How many of you knew it was Happy Governance Day? There's one hand who's lying back there. That's good. I love that for you. But never fear, I have my governance gauntlet, okay? So, of course, it's a thing we made up, but it is in honor of all of you, because when do you have thousands of people showing up at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday to learn about governance, right? Do you know when? It's that point in the deployment cycle, right? It's that point in the deployment cycle. We've made the thing, we've deployed the thing, now we're like, we have a lot of them. We got to babysit. So, question for all of you, how many of you have deployed and governed SharePoint sites? Yeah, lots of you. How many of you deployed and governed Power Apps, Power Automates, those things? Basically everyone. So the good news is you got to do it again. Sorry. You know, everyone saying, I think I'm done. You're not done. You're not even close to done. Because we have a set of tools for you, and your organizations need you, the governance gurus, to fly to the rescue and save us yet again from sprawl. Are you all ready for this? Yes, you just have to agree because, sorry, this is your job now. You showed up on Happy Governance Day. This is the life you chose. Okay, so, sorry. Okay, who's heard of the Microsoft 365 Admin Center? Yes. Who's actually used Agent 365? Quite a few of you. Okay, cool. So I'm going to give you some new things to look at. Everyone else will have a bunch of new stuff. But what we're really trying to do is give you language so you can explain to your organization what is the right way, not just to build an agent, but to deploy an agent. Cool? Cool. All right. So in Microsoft 365 Admin Center, you're going to go down and click on this thing called Agents, because, you know, we're talking about agents. And in Agents, you're going to come to this big overview pane. And in the overview pane, this page gives you the answers to the questions. All of you get asked questions all the time. CFO, CTO, CIO, C something O. How many agents do we have? Who's using them? What are the most popular agent? Blah, blah, blah. So this page gives you answers to questions. Guard it with your life. This is your secret superpower, okay? So first up is the agent registry. This is the shock of everyone's lives when they discover, wait, we have 500,000 agents in our organization? How did that happen? I'm like, you weren't there for Power Apps and it shows, right? Remember this we went through with Power Apps? Anyone in the world can build an agent, and what happened? They did. So that's the first thing. The second one is active users. This is how many human users you have actually using those agents in your organization, because that's something everyone loves to know. Are anyone even using these? The third one is the agent runtime. This is where you answer that question on what is the ROI on agents? What are we actually getting in return for all this huge amount of investment? How often do these agents run? What is the overall runtime? So these three cards are actually going to give you the updated info you need all the time. The next section is what we call homework. We know we love a bit of homework. So top actions, if you run an IT department, this is probably for you, where people have submitted some agents, which is a miracle that they submitted it to you, okay? So your job is to actually go through and approve things. Don't just block them. The second one are agents at risk, where all of you Purview Entra folk, this is for you. These are the agents that someone has flagged is risky, and you need to take some action. And the third one is agents without owners. This drama happens because someone moved jobs, left the company, abandoned their agent, right? They've disowned their agent. These agents need homes again. So these are the 3 homework assignments. The fourth part over here are the analytics. These are for all of the charts and graphs people out there who are like, well, how many agents do we have built in these tools or those tools? The first one is tools, are agents built by your organization. These are the ones where everyone got super creative on a Sunday and built their own agents and deployed them without telling you. And hopefully, Agent 365 has managed to find them and catch them. The second one are the top platforms people built agents in. Unshockingly, Agent Builder in Microsoft 365 Copilot is the popular one because everyone builds their own. And then Copilot Studio, very popular in our organization here, along with SharePoint, because there's a billion SharePoint users out there, so of course they're going to build some agents. And then you've got the active users over time of your agents, and over here you've got the popular agents. In our imaginary organization, Kendra's agent obviously is the most popular, and it's also pink. You're welcome. Okay, so next, we're going to drill down into all agents. Okay, so all agents, this is where you're going to see a list of all of the agents in your organization, whether they were built by you, like Copilot Studio, Foundry, et cetera, or whether it's something that one of your colleagues bought off the internet. Okay, how many of your organizations have bought agents off the internet, and it's now your problem? There's a few of you. We're in Europe, that's why. You should see in the US. Okay, let me explain. Okay, so over here we've got GenSpark, we've got Workday, all of these sorts of agents. We're going to drill into one of these, which is our favorite agent example, which is procurement. Because ironically, you need to go through the Java procurement agent to acquire agents off the internet. All right, so once we're in our procurement agent, you'll see all of these tabs. The first one is, here's some basic info, who's the owner, where is it deployed? This one's deployed in Copilot as well as Teams. And then down here, who's it installed for everybody, instructions. If the agent is behaving poorly and people are saying this agent's not giving me the right info, instructions are actually the first set of guardrails that people should be doing correctly to be able to make sure that the agent is doing what it's supposed to be doing rather than saying, you're an all-purpose agent, give people all the answers to the universe. So no. Identity, this is for all of you Entra folk out there. Each agent will have its own Entra ID, and you've got the ID history, which is going to matter. And if this was built in Copilot Studio, it would have an environment, but this is a Foundry agent. So next up, you've got the users that you get to choose. You can say you want for the entire organization or specific groups. The third one is the data and tools that it has access to. So this part really matters because can read. What does the agent actually have access to, and are you okay with this for the entire organization? A lot of people really love oversharing, right? So you have to figure out, should the entire organization have access to information from this thing? And then, of course, you've got your graph connectors, the knowledge sources for your agent, as well as the tools that it has access to. So you know about security. How many of you are Purview nerds in here? Yes, so this will make you happy because you get to babysit Purview directly from Agent 365. You would be able to look at the agent activity from Purview, launch this. I won't because I'm not allowed to click on Purview anymore. And protect sensitive data and then mess around with your Entra ID and this and that. So permissions we're going to come back to, but you can see that we've set a set of permissions for this agent. But the thing I really want to show you is activity. So activity is the active users of the agent, the sessions, the agent runtime. And over here, you're getting the sessions over time. So the sessions over time, the successful sessions, are going to be in this turquoise teal color. And the exceptions, the ones that didn't go as scheduled. This gives you a good view, and you can see that the exceptions are going a little bit up over time. So this tells me that I need to go have a little chit-chat with the owner of the agent and say, yo, what's going on with your agent, right? And over here, you can see all of the active users for your agent. And this is a very good way to get feedback on the agent and say, who actually uses this other than the person who made it? And what kind of feedback do you have? How can this be better, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things I want to show you that I thought was very cool is this agent map. Okay, so this shows the actual agent sprawl in a visual way for this specific agent and its tools. So you'll see its users, of course, we specify this, but check out this. These are all the tools that it has access to. Isn't that interesting? So you can see that, oh, it's got access to all of these tools and how many exceptions that tool call actually caused. This one, for example, has access to 24 tools, and here are all of the number of tool calls it's done and how many of those fired exceptions. I found that kind of granularity really interesting from just an overall point of view where people are like, oh, I don't think my agents call that many tools. We're like, son, 24 tools is a lot of tools for your agent to be calling. Okay, so back to the registry. You can see a map of all of your agents in the registry. You can see it this way. And again, everyone's working on making this more granular, but it really gives you a good idea of what kinds of agent sprawl you have in your organization. You can see here we've got some Google Vertex, some Amazon Bedrock, a lot of third-party, but most of them are done in Agent Builder and Copilot Studio. So that is the agent map. Next, I can see I've got some homework here. Agent risk. What's going on with risk? Let me just go back to the registry view. So these are the agents that are at risk. So for risk, I'm going to drill down here and see like what's the issue here. So for here, we'd say, okay, what's causing these issues? It's going to security, and as usual, there's some risk in Purview and some risk in Entra. So I, as not the security person, what I would do is I would probably assign a new owner for it if they're not doing a particularly good job. Or what I can do is block the agent until we find the owner and they do something about it, right? So we'd say security concerns, we're like, cause bad. Put a better reason than cause bad, but you know what I mean, right? Okay, so I shouldn't actually block that agent, right? That wouldn't be great. Okay, I won't block it, Okay, next up, we have got homework, agents without owners. How many of you have agents in your org where the owners mysteriously disappeared? Yes, I know, all of you. Same. A lot of people make agents and they disappear. We're like, where did they go? Is this used by people? This plane of glass, right, gives you that view into agents without owners. So you can actually go through and say, all right, the project management agent, for example, the project management copilot, what do you do with this? Let's assign an owner. You know, take a look at it and say who's using it, et cetera, but let's assign an owner. And let me assign it to Ray Smith. For some reason, did not show up today, so he's just gonna get an agent assigned to him. Sorry, Ray. Deeply unsorry, but this is now. Here's how you assign owners. Now, who thinks it sounds fun to assign owners to 500,000 agents? No one. No one wants to sit at the bar with me tonight and do this. I'm devastated. What? We have something for you. Ready? So you go down to settings. Down in settings. We've got this new thing called rules. Who's used Outlook rules? If it's from my boss, highlight. If it's not from my boss, ignore, right? Exactly. So we've got agent management rules. We've got these three pre-built ones where it's reassign ownerless agents, create by agent builder to the manager. The ability to create your own rules is coming soon. Okay, if you beg and plead Kendra and Shilpi, it may come sooner to you. Okay, that is the pro tip. But here is the actual pro tip. So it'll identify all the agents, and you can say, reassign ownerless agents to their manager, because they let them build an agent and deploy it without having a succession plan in place. So this is their fault. They chose this life. And you'd run it, and there you go. I won't run it because I think they actually have like real owners. We don't want to assign them all to the owner. Okay, so those are rules. The next thing is a policy template. Now, a policy template is a way to assign a set of permissions to agents at scale. So you can say, here is a template we tend to use a lot. This is the Microsoft one, which is the default agent template for all agents other than AI teammates, okay? So you've got like this lifecycle management. This one is something like, if it hasn't been used in 90 days, take it offline. You do want policies like this, just like you did for Power Apps, just like you did for SharePoint, just like you have for email, because otherwise you'll have a lot of out-of-date agents that no one has ever used. So policy templates, this is one that we created custom. And you would specify agents without identity, with identity, the actual policies you put into place. So you'd go through, choose your policies, work with security on this one. And once you have these policy templates, you go back to your homework. Remember our homework that we haven't done? Come on, overview. And I have got a request. Remember that homework I didn't do yet? Requests. My staffing agent, somebody wants me to publish the staffing agent. I'm like, okay, what data and tools? Cool, good, security permissions, and please do a better job than I'm doing right now, and permissions. All right, so I feel like we can publish this to the store. Who wants to publish? Who wants to reject? You, this guy in the front, he's like, no, I don't like it. I'm gonna publish it and blame Ray, who's not here. Okay, so we're gonna publish to all users. Okay, which one's all users? Because all users is a good idea. Apply template. Remember that template we just filled out? We're gonna go through and say, let's choose, not the default one, but the one I just made. We're gonna go next, and then we're gonna go next, and my agent is published, and I have now contributed to the problem of agent sprawl. Okay, you are welcome, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to leave you now because we've got some other cool demos. But before we leave here, keep in mind, Agent 365 is the control plane for agents across your organization. And the team is continuously working to bring other agents into Agent 365. If you have feedback, please bring it to the product team. But keep in mind, Agent 365 is the control plane. And because we're all here and you're looking very excited by this, we're going to have a fun gesture. Ready? The Agent 365 is the control what? Plane. Do it. Control plane. I love how all of you are doing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna. That's observe, govern, and secure, not on a slide, but in action, supporting the team. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how did all those agents get there in the first place? Well, lucky for all of you, if you're building on Copilot Studio, no extra wiring necessary. It's already integrated into Agent 365. In fact, if you build anywhere on the Microsoft stack, it's all integrated into Agent 365 for you. So whether you're building customizations on Copilot, using Agent Builder, or developing custom agents using Foundry, they're already part of the Agent 365 ecosystem. And it doesn't stop at Microsoft. Through the Agent 365 SDK, the agents you build on other platforms are welcome too, with growing integrations from agent providers like Zendesk, GenSpark, and Manus, and many more. The ecosystem of agents that are natively integrated into Agent 365 continues to grow. You can also integrate any agent from other platforms that aren't already integrated using that SDK, enabling those agents to get that same value that Donna just showed you through that portal. One connected view of every agent, wherever it was built, wherever it runs. And we continue to extend the Agent 365 registry to provide greater visibility over other platforms too. Now admins can go ahead and create connections directly to other platforms and have Agent 365 flow those agents and their associated metadata directly into the registry without any additional integration work necessary, unified in one centralized view. One place to see every agent, wherever it was built. And this is not theoretical. Since the launch of Agent 365 just a few months ago, we've had tens of thousands of customers already managing tens of millions of agents using it. Real production scale, already running today. And just listen to what they're saying. NTT Data is scaling and governing agents with confidence using Agent 365. KPMG is using the unified control plane, enabling them to move beyond fragmented pilots to true production use. EY sees it as the enterprise foundation for identity, data controls, and telemetry for all their agents. some of the most complex customers in the world betting on Agent 365 as their agent control plane. And lucky enough, one of them is here today to share with us their experience. To tell us a little bit more about KPMG's journey with Agent 365, please give a warm welcome to Marco, the Global Microsoft 360 CTO at KPMG.
Thank you, Nirav.
Welcome, Marco. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you.
For folks that don't necessarily know about KPMG, which I bet is very few, or you, can you give us a little bit of background on KPMG and your role there?
Sure. KPMG is one of the big four global professional services network of firms. We run our business across 138 countries, more than 270,000 professionals. And essentially, we do tax and legal audit and advisory and technology advisory services all over the world.
That's great. Now, I know KPMG has been kind of at the forefront of this frontier transformation. So you've been doing agents for quite some time. You know, before you had Agent 365, how did you go about managing it all?
Yeah, I mean, it was complicated. We always wanted to be client zero. And learn and apply agentic AI to our business so we can advise clients and do our work better. So we started the journey over 2 years ago. We built processes. We have our trusted AI framework, a network of centers of excellence. And the process was OK and did serve the purpose, but it was slow. So it was slowing down innovation and creating bottlenecks and also having a problem with visibility. It gave us the trust side, but it was fragmented. It wasn't easy to find what's happening and how to accelerate innovation. So our people started to get anxious about how we could release agents faster and do things better.
Got it. So a lot of those same I needs that we were talking about earlier. Now, you were sharing this with me earlier, and I think everyone here needs to hear about this because it's such an amazing experience. You know, when you first got access to Agent 365 and saw that registry, tell everyone kind of what that was like for you.
I mean, it was a great experience. So Agent 365 was the missing piece for us. We had our trusted AI framework to build all the checks and controls and compliance. We had a Microsoft Foundry and our workbench to build the engines, and obviously Copilot now deployed to all our global workforce and Copilot Studio and agents. But we were missing that piece, that pane of glass where we could have the visibility. So when we enabled Agent 365, it was very interesting. The first thing we discovered is we had over 72,000 agents already running. We didn't have that number all aggregated up. It was a shock, as Donna was saying before. When you enable it and look at 72,000 agents, my God, what's happening? But the most interesting thing is the speed, the speed now that we are growing. We are adding more than 4,000 to 5,000 agents a week, and it's accelerating now that we roll out Copilot and Agent Builder to everyone. So actually, you know, right now we're close to 130,000 agents running on our domain.
Now, it's so interesting because we hear that story over and over from customers as they use Agent 365. I know Ryan shared the number of agents inside of Microsoft, and we had that same experience the first time we saw it inside of Agent 365. So now that you've got kind of control and visibility over these agents, where are you focused next? What is the big issue that you're trying to address utilizing Agent 365?
I think for us is now realizing that agent management is a team sport. We have to bring people together. We have to get not just our security, our data governance, and all the IT admins, but also the business. Agent 365 has a nice side effect for us that allow us to discover what agents are being really utilized and drive adoption. So we can now understand what agent or what systems are working in where in our business and how we can move that and help to other sides of our business to adopt the same technology. So it is fantastic and really brings that agent management outside of the realm of IT to the whole business.
Yeah, no, I love that. This idea of the team sport, everyone playing their role to manage those agents. And I love this idea that because you've got that control and visibility, how that's really enabling you to accelerate the innovation, not slow it down. So now that you've got this kind of managed and kind of under control, Where are you focused next? Where are you thinking you want to take this?
Yeah, I think the next level of this is value, understanding the value equation. Obviously, there is a cost to AI, but there is also a lot of value. We've been talking about this, the whole conference. So we need to understand the ROI of the tools and look at how agentic AI is delivering value to our business and to our clients. And what we envision is a future where we can actually manage agents like we do expenses, where a manager on our business would be able to approve costs for an agent to do things like that and extend, that reach. So, the FinOps, all that stuff there is super important in the future.
All right, I'm going to have to cut you off here because I think you're going to take away the rest of my presentation if I let you keep going. Thank you so much, Marco, for sharing your journey at KPMG, and thank you for all the partnerships.
Thank you, Nirav.
So you've seen now how Agent 365 supports that sprawl of agents that come from your SaaS providers, your applications, or even the ones that you build and run in your cloud infrastructure. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Those are not the only agents that you have running in your organization. There's a new class of agents that are starting to emerge across the enterprise that aren't nearly as visible. 29%. Nearly a third of employees have turned to unsanctioned agents to get their work done. And that's not out of malice. It's out of momentum. They found something that helped them do their job more efficiently and effectively, and they started to use it. But what that means is nearly a third of your agent footprint may be completely invisible to those people ultimately responsible for managing it. So in addition to these SaaS and cloud agents, we're increasingly seeing the emergence and use of local agents. Agents running right on your users' laptops, phones, devices. Agents like GitHub Copilot, accelerating development. Open source agents like OpenClaw that people are using to automate workflows across their file systems, browsers, and so much more. And these local agents, they're great. They create new levels of productivity and value for the people using them. I mean, don't tell anyone at home, back at Microsoft, but I regularly use them to get my job done too. But these local agents, they create a completely new set of challenges from those cloud agents that we were talking about earlier. Local agents typically authenticate and run as the local user on the device itself. They aren't built to integrate with your gateways, so they bypass those checkpoints and the policies that they enforce. And because they run on the local device, they barely leave any trace of their existence that distinguishes them from that local user that's working on the device too. This is all new, ungoverned surface that we need to go address. And that's why we've introduced the local agents registry into Agent 365. Now Agent 365 extends all the way to the edge. So even local agents running on your managed devices can be observed, governed, and secured. We've done this by extending Agent 365 so that local agents and their policies can be defined and deployed via Intune, building on how you're already doing this for all of those managed devices. But we've taken it a step further with Windows, adding another layer of protection with containers directly embedded into the operating system. This allows those local agents to have enforced identity, secured access to the on-device tools and systems, and the ability to detect anomalies based on their runtime executions. This is done through Microsoft execution containers, which we just recently announced. Through Agent 365, admins can define and apply policies across all of their devices to run local agents in a safe execution container on Windows. Agent 365 also now supports discovery of shadow AI, giving you a view into your unmanaged agents, built on that same endpoint management capabilities used to manage those local agents. but now enhanced with activity analysis over those devices in Defender. With that, Agent 365 provides a view of local agents that haven't been sanctioned to run. With Shadow AI, you can see where these local agents are installed and running, and apply policies until you feel confident, and even block what you don't want it used. Like I said earlier, local agents can be incredibly valuable and drive meaningful productivity gains for people. The answer isn't to panic and ban everything. That's just going to push it deeper into the shadows and increase your risk. Instead, the goal is to discover every agent, the ones you know about and the ones that you don't. The risk isn't the agents themselves. The risk is adopting them without visibility and control. Detect, assess, decide. That's the handoff from shadow to governed. So let's see all of that in action. To walk us through local agents and Shadow AI inside of Agent 365, please welcome Kendra. Kendra, over to you.
Thank you so much, Nirav. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Before we get started, I want to see a show of hands. How many of you are using agents outside of Microsoft platforms? Oof, you all have to stand up and leave now, I think. No, just kidding. Okay, also, how many of you have played around with any of the coding agents, like GitHub Copilot? Awesome, okay, you guys can stay. Great. Okay, last question. How many of you are using local agents that you have deployed on your device, or maybe you're using OpenClaw that you've deployed on your device and you're playing around to see those capabilities? Your IT teams are not in here. They're not looking at your answers. Okay, perfect. This session is for you. And I think the big piece to truly understand is that Agent 365 is the platform for you. It is the control plane that allows you to govern and manage all of your agents at scale in a platform agnostic way. And today, I'm excited to show you how we're making it easier than ever to ingest agents across those third-party platforms directly into the registry, as well as manage local AI and identify and govern shadow AI. So let's get into it. I'm going to pick up right where Donna left off, right here in the registry. And we'll start by looking at that feature Nirav mentioned earlier, registry syncs. So here in the registry sync, you can see I've already added the connection details for 3 of the 4 platforms that we currently support. There are so many more coming, so check out our roadmap. But for now, I want to go ahead and take a look at Salesforce Agentforce. And so I'm going to go ahead and kick off a sync here. Now, because I've already authenticated on this platform, I'm now able to ingest and identify any agents that I have built and deployed across Agentforce. And if I click into these agents, I can see some lightweight information, but really the value here is discoverability in a more automated way. Please keep in mind that these agents are unmanaged, and so if you wanted to see full observability, be able to apply policy templates, etc., you would still need to use the Agent 365 SDK to fully onboard that agent into the Agent 365 registry. But for most organizations, it's not the risk, or the risk doesn't come from the agents that you know exist, whether they're built on top of Microsoft platforms or some of these third-party platforms like Agentforce that we just brought into the registry. The risk really lives in the agents that we don't know exist, the ones that are installed outside of the purview of IT. And that's really where local agents and shadow AI come in. And this is that new wave of risk that we are facing when it comes to managing and governing agents. And so to help with that, let's first go over and see what's possible within our local agents. So through Defender, we're able to automatically identify any of the supported platforms where local agents could be running on your employees' machines. And if I go into GitHub Copilot specifically, you can see that I can see some lightweight details. I can understand when this was last scanned across all of my employees' devices. I can see how many devices this was detected on. I can also go ahead and drill into the devices themselves. So I can see all of the device names, I can see the different models, the operating systems, when the scans last occurred, right? This really takes those local agents and turns them into manageable assets that you as an IT organization can then decide to govern accordingly. But this is just one piece in that local agent story, right? The other piece is all around shadow AI. And so within shadow AI, we have a number of different claws and local platforms that we're able to identify. And we're able to do this through the power of Intune and Defender. So I'll start out here in OpenClaw. And again, right off the bat, I can see important information around when I've last scanned all of my employees' devices. I can see the devices detected. And more importantly, I can understand the security posture for this unmanaged agent. And I'm able to see there are 0 policies that have been deployed. Now, not only is this important from a discoverability perspective, but this is really important because we're bringing together 3 different groups that don't typically work in the same tool, right? So we have our IT admins, we have our endpoint management teams, and we have our security teams, now all working together to really identify and govern, if necessary, these claws, these shadow AI. So since I don't have any security policies applied, I want to go ahead and go over to the security policies pivot. And I have an option here to continuously detect these managed devices to see if OpenClaw has been installed. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. By doing so, what this does is now for any managed device that is enrolled in Intune, we will automatically survey those devices and be able to surface where OpenClaw has been installed through Agent 365 so that now we're taking this kind of really ambiguous and kind of scary concept of shadow AI, and we're surfacing it to you as an actionable inventory that you can then decide to govern and manage. And so I know I had some detected devices. So let's go over to that list of detected devices where OpenClaw has been installed. Now I can see all of the different devices where this is running. I have the same type of information as I had for local agents. So I can see the model details, I can see the operating system, I can see when the last scans occurred, right? And so this is important because it doesn't always start with enforcement, right? For most of our organizations, the critical piece here is just discoverability, well before we decide to go ahead and block these concepts or block these claws, if you will. But let's say as an organization, we did decide that OpenClaw is no longer approved for being installed on our corporate machines. So I'm going to go back to those security policies, and I'm now going to make the decision to go ahead and block OpenClaw itself. What happens when we do this is Agent 365 actually creates an Intune policy that blocks the typical ways that OpenClaw is able to run on these managed devices. And so if I take a step back from everything we just saw here, the story is really simple. Agent 365 allows you to discover and identify agents built on Microsoft platforms and bring them under management, third-party platforms and bring them under management, but also local agents and shadow AI. And this really leads you directly into this concept of enforcement if necessary. And it allows our IT and security organizations to not have to choose between really pushing and enabling innovation with AI tools while also maintaining security and control, right? with Agent 365, you have one control plane for every single agent. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Nirav. Thank you.
Thank you, Kendra. From invisible to governed in just a few clicks. Amazing. So shifting gears, let's go back to that team that we were talking about earlier that's managing and operating all these agents. Recently, we're seeing a couple of new team members starting to join in. We've got the business leader who wants measurable outcomes and ROI from all these agents. They're asking, what are the results that these agents are actually delivering? And we've got finance, who needs to predict and attribute all the AI spend happening across the organization. They're asking, what are the costs? Who's accountable for them? And how are those teams doing against their budget? That's why you've been hearing this topic starting to emerge. It's become kind of a buzzword as of late, right? Tokenomics. It's kind of happening all over the place. But what this is really getting at is two distinct but important things. The first is cost. What are we spending on all of these agents, and how do we control and manage it all? And the second is value. Are these agents actually worth what we're spending on them? Are they delivering the intended business value? Neither of those in isolation is useful. You need to balance both to make the right trade-offs. And that's what those two new team members are really focused on. That's why we're introducing cost management into Agent 365. With cost management, admins can now monitor AI credit usage, configure billing, set spending limits, and decide who can spend what. They get reporting down to the tenant and security group levels, enabling visibility and governance over your agent spend. But we're balancing that with the other side of the equation, with a view of agent effectiveness, allowing business leaders to track critical aspects of their agent fleet, like adoption and speed of task completion, bringing visibility into the real impact that these agents are providing, and enabling them to make informed decisions based on real data, not just guesses. Ultimately, allowing you to evaluate the cost of an agent against its true value. So, to take us through how Agent 365 arms you with the tools you need to manage cost and assess value, please welcome Shilpi. So Shilpi, show us the money.
Thank you, Nirav. So, your employees and makers in your organization are eager to start building and using agents, whether it's no-code, low-code, pro-code, cloud platform, local, you heard it all. And then your IT and security teams now have access to Agent 365, so they can observe, secure, and govern all these agents. And you just heard Nirav talk about two new players in this game, the business decision makers and the finance leaders, who are asking the very important questions. What is this going to cost us? And what's the ROI? So we're introducing cost management in Agent 365 so that you can see, control, and prove the value of those agents before the bill arrives. So let me show you all of this in action. First, I'm going to show you how you can govern your costs for Microsoft AI spend. Here, if you, our starting point is you can create a policy that helps you just set up. First thing, enable your billing admins to set up the billing methods. Here, you're setting up cost associated with your Azure subscription. And next step, you're creating limits that allow you to see monthly limits that are hard caps. So when this limit is met, your usage will stop, but this allows you to stay in control. You can also set limits for users so that no individual user is able to spend all of that. Next, you can set up limits and alerting for your thresholds that you should get notified for. Once you've done these changes, these billing policies allow you to actually control scope of users, limits, access to services, such as the co-work or WorkIQ API, and we'll be continuously adding more services here. So you can apply the guardrails to each spending policy, and with the billing methods, you can actually configure departmental level chargebacks so that each spending policy is tied to a different Azure subscription, if you need it to be. So here I have created two spending policies. The way these work, they layer on top of each other, and the most permissive policy applies. Next, once this is done, this allows you to ensure that you have governance before the spend occurs. So with Agent 365, you now have IT in control of costs in the same place where they manage their agents. Once these billing policies are set up, you can go into understanding the key KPIs about the spend and ROI. Here, you can see the total Copilot credits. You can see how many users are using these credits. You can see how much is your total estimated spend, as well as the most important question that's top of mind for everyone, the ROI. Here, we're looking at the value per session of each agent. This is configurable either by the admin or the developer. And then we factor in the total number of sessions and the spend for this agent. Once you have this ROI, you can now look at ways to optimize the cost for better ROI. Here, we're also giving the admins top actions so that they can be on top of users that are requesting credit limit increases, as well as those policies or users that are reaching their limits, and ways that you can focus on the agents or services or users that are driving costs. We're also here showing you the projected estimated spend for the reporting period. So I've shown you the ways to configure costs and then the ways to monitor your cost and ROI for your AI spend in Microsoft. But we know not all customers are only on the Microsoft platform. You just saw Kendra talk about the registry sync. It allowed you to bring in the data from your third-party platforms. We're extending that same concept to be able to also connect and bring down consumption and cost data. This now allows you to see all of your cost data in one dashboard. Here, metrics like the total estimated spend or ROI, or even your projected trajectory, all factor in your AI spend on Microsoft as well as on other third-party platforms. So what I've just shown you, cost and value, key table stakes. And with Agent 365, this information is now available to your IT within the M365 Admin Center. But just to connect the dots again, Nirav just talked about those two new players, the business leaders, the finance leaders. Guess what? They're not going to come into the M365 Admin Center. We don't want them to. But we have built leader-facing dashboards in Viva Insights that allows us to bring in the same foundational data built with the purpose to answer the most top-of-mind questions for leaders. Here, you're able to see the credit consumption directly in Microsoft Insights. You can see the trend. You can see by different departments, job functions. You have multiple different dimensions you can filter this data on. And you can see by agents and services, as well as the various metrics like usage intensity. Let me drill into co-work. You all heard we've announced co-work GA, and it is based on usage-based billing. Here, you can come in and look at all of the details of how to ensure you have you can see your cost and ROI. So I'm going to show you very quickly the most important chart that everyone's looking for, the cost to productivity connection. Here you can see that cowork usage has been broken down by task categories, and then a multiplier factor has been applied by research-backed dollar value for each of these task categories to tell you how the total usage versus average assisted value by cowork. This is the type of connection you're looking to make to understand your cost to ROI value. There's more insights here that helps you see, the breakdown between user-initiated and scheduled tasks, etc. And really quickly, I'll also show you that the same thing we've announced GitHub Copilot to also be usage billing, so that information is available here as well. And one last click really quickly, I'll show you, we're also bringing an Agent 365 dashboard in Microsoft Insights so that you can see agent adoption and agent effectiveness across the various orgs and job functions in your organization. So that's the full story arch of cost to value, operators in Agent 365, and leaders in Microsoft Insights. Back to you, Nirav.
Thank you, Shilpi. Cost and value, finally in one place, like peanut butter and jelly, or whatever your favorite sandwich toppings are. So with Agent 365, you can now see your agents, you can secure them, and now every cost, every agent accounted for. No more learning what an agent costs after the invoice arrives. No more spend scattered across multiple different tools. One system, one answer. So to close out, remember everyone that we met when we started. IT, security, compliance, makers and developers, admins, and now finance and business leaders. This is how we bring the whole team together, all on the same platform. For the first time, they're all seeing a consistent view, all operating from the same shared foundation to observe, govern, and secure every agent running across the organization. That's how we get the whole team on one field, letting each team member bring their unique skills, knowledge, and capabilities to do what they do best. That's why the story doesn't end at built. That's just where it starts. Thank you all for coming out today. Hope you got a good view into how Agent 365 supports your frontier transformation. Now go build, and then go manage them too. Thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of EPPC.